Legate Toyson. And my mother was Pansy Blossom Burford, the daughter of Sophia Lee Adams and Daniel Burford. Um, I have one brother, Guy E. Legate Jr., who isn't here today. Um, I have no children. My husband and I have no children. My husband is Paul M. Toyson. My brother has two children, Michael Legate and Rebecca Johannes. Michael has two sons, Thomas and Kevin Legate. And my niece, Becky Johannes Weber now, has one son. What did he say?
Mike.
No. Robert Anthony Johannes. My brother lives in outside of Maynard, Arkansas, and my niece lives in Galesburg, Illinois, and this is my husband. We live in Wisconsin, New Auburn, Wisconsin.
Which is normally called the Holy Land.
Yes. Okay?
Very good.
Is that enough?
I am Paul Yardy. My mother was Adams. Her name was Charlotte. She was one of 11 children of Elijah Adams. Elijah Adams was a brother to John, who built the house here on this property. John and Elijah were then children of Daniel and Susan Adams. We are, Jesse and I, are parents to 6 children. They're all married, and we have a son in his family in Manila, and we have a daughter and son-in-law in Portland, Oregon, with their 6 children. We have a daughter in Alaska with her children, and a son in Vincennes, Indiana with his children, and a daughter in in Illinois. They have 4 children. Altogether, we have 19 grandchildren. Our youngest is Yvonne. They live in Reedsport, Oregon, and this is my wife, Jessie, the mother of all those children and grandmother to those 19.
Well, it's certainly a joy to be here on the farm and to be a part of this Adams family.
The Adams from Billings, Montana. I'm a great-granddaughter of Daniel and a granddaughter of John Albert and a daughter of John A. Adams. You want more than that?
Sure.
My home is in Montana, and the Montanans wanted to come very much, but they could not come for various reasons. One had a new baby and a sick wife, and one's a pharmacist, and he was too busy to leave at that time. Their mother would like to have come, but she was alone and not too well, so she did not come. But I think that the other one is up in Missoula, so that takes care of most of the Montanans that they're there now. It died several years ago, and Cora is his wife. She's the one who wanted to come. Then the oldest of the family is Dolores, and Dolores would like to have come too, but she needs to stay there because of her mother. And Howard is next. He's the pharmacist. He needs to stay with his business. Charles travels for fish and game. He goes all over the world. He's just come back from Italy a short time ago. And Tom is the one with the baby and the sick wife.
Okay, who did you come here with?
I came here with my niece, Judy.
Well, it's
Judy
about time
Clark.
for Judy to get into the picture then.
She is my niece by her father. She's my half-brother.
Hi, I'm Judy Clark. I'm from Ralston, Wyoming. I'm Helen Adams' niece. Bill Adams is my dad. And John Albert Adams has a birthday the same day as mine, as I've been told, which is October 16th, which tickles me. I have two kids. Jerry is living in Phoenix. He's married to Carol. They have a girl and two boys, Stephen, Shayla, and Kelsey. He'd love to come meet all the relatives, but they're unable to travel because of financial reasons, just like most of us. Denise, she's in Idaho. She's married to Kelly Rigby. They have two boys and a girl, Blake, Keisha, and Corey. And she's working full-time. She'd love to come, but there again, they're getting ready to take Blake down to his stepmother's at Salt Lake, so they've been gone about the time that we get back. This is pretty country out here. I love your trees. I don't have any at my house. I plant them all the time. They don't grow. We have a good system. Jay, who is my husband, he digs the holes and I put the trees in and cover them up. If you come out to Wyoming, stop and see us. We love to have company.
I'm Grace Adams Burnett. I'm the great Daniel Adams was my great-great-grandfather. I have 4 children. Wayne, Glenda, Gary, and Patty. Yes. I want to introduce my son, Gary Burnett.
Am I on there? I thought she was going to Elmer. Hello, I'm Gary, Gary Burnett, Grace's son, grandson to Elmer Adams. This is my wife, Beth, over here, and my 2 kids, Adam and Stephen.
Hi.
Hi.
Birdie?
My name is Sandra Wayne. My husband Bill and I have restored the John A. Adams homestead. He is my great-grandfather. Benjamin Adams was his oldest son. My mom Irma was the daughter of Benjamin Adams. We have had the farm as a bed and breakfast for 4 years. And today, June 22nd, we are having the first Adams reunion. My husband Bill.
Hello, everybody. If you would like to visit our farm, we are bed and breakfast. And I hope all of you have our phone number and you will come and see us sometime.
Hello folks, I'm Venora Huffman Day and I'm the daughter of Oliver. And Oliver was the son of Lena. Lena is the daughter of William, and William is the son of Daniel. And I live in Wichita with my husband who's retired, and I'm semi-retired, and we travel, and here he is. You want to say anything, dear? No. This is the way we act all the time. Hey, come on, Shirley.
Come here.
Shirley and Brian.
Get over here.
Bill, are you starting now?
Got room enough? Okay. Oh, Brian, he's pulling a little. There we are. And this is my daughter Shirley, my grandson Brian. Hi, Brian. Oh, Easton. So that takes us down to the end of our family so far. Okay? I'm Marilyn Trudgeon Warman. I'm the daughter of Lily Huffman Trudgeon. She was the daughter of Lena Huffman, Lena Adams Huffman. And she was the daughter of William Preston Adams, who was the son of Daniel Adams. I live in Portland, Oregon. This is my husband, Dale Warman.
Greetings from the great Northwest.
And we have 3 children, Sharon, Doug, and Ron, and they have amongst them 8 children. We have 8 grandchildren. Oh, Sharon, Doug, and Ron are the children. We have Crystal, Brianna, Jacob, Matthew, Laura, and 2 on the way this summer. So we don't know their names, but we have enjoyed the Adams family reunion very much.
The only thing I haven't enjoyed is these stinking little name tags. I mean, it don't even say hello or anything. Some of us men are pretty upset about the whole thing. Other than that, it's a great day and the food's going to be fantastic.
Wonderful.
Thanks for inviting
Thank you.
My name is Mary Charlotte Yardy Sig. I was born in Turlock, California. I am from the Daniel Adams line. My grandfather was Elijah Adams, and my mother was Charlotte Hazel Adams. My father was George Joseph Yardy, and I am from a family of 3 brothers, and I am the youngest daughter. I married Robert Sig, and I would like to introduce him to you. We were married in Bellevue, Washington, October 30th, 1954, and we live in eastern Washington on a wheat ranch. And we have 3 children. Our oldest is Colleen Sig, Colleen Marie, and we have a son, Wesley Robert Sig, who is married and has 2 children, Rebecca, Christine, and Robert Kent. We have a young daughter, Mary Luella, who is married to Larry Carlson, and they live in Edmonds, Washington. And I would like for my husband Bob, to say something.
I'll just say hi. It's nice to be here at the reunion.
It's also good to be here. I'm living right now in Kansas City, Missouri, and never dreamed that I would, after living in the Northwest, move out here and follow some of my roots. My husband is Sam Hunter. And this completes this part of our family.
Okay, I'm Georgia Williams Lamb. I come from the Daniel, John, and Margaret Adams line. My father was Fred Williams, and we live in Idaho, and we have, well, come on out, Phil, since you're the only one here. And we were married in June 1st of 1954. We have 3 children. Our oldest, Douglas, is in Payette, Idaho, and our daughter, Barbara, is out in Kent, Washington, and our youngest son, Dwight, is over in Big Fork, Montana. We've enjoyed it.
Don't run off because I get to talk.
Oh, okay.
I remember my father-in-law mentioning when I visited his homestead a few times about some summers when he was a small boy here on this place, living with his grandfather Adams, and it's good to be here, part of this family, and taking the family reunion.
Hi, my name is Larry Adams. I'm through the William Preston Adams family line. William's son was Ralph. Ralph's son was Lowell, and I'm Lowell's son. This is my wife, Mardee.
Hi.
More than hi.
Hi, I'm Mardee Adams.
We have lived most of our life in California, but we've moved to Warrensburg last Christmas time. And Stephen? Hi, my name is Stephen Adams.
Hi, I'm Susie.
Laura?
Hi, I'm Laura.
And Joseph? And Daniel? And Wesley.
Say hi.
But now these two here, if you go back in your family history, the big reunion is about the descendants of Daniel and Susan Adams, and this is my Daniel and Susan Adams. We have an older son, David, who's currently living in Kentucky, and he'll be joining us next January.
John Adams was the son of Daniel Adams, and he was my great-grandfather. My grandmother was Sophie Adams Burford, and my mother was Violet Burford Long, and I am Virginia Long Bradfield, and this is my husband Leroy. And we have two children, Linda Lane and her husband Kent, and they have three daughters, Tiffany Noel, and Talia Benet, and Tabitha Amber. And we have a son, Richard Bradfield. He and his wife Peggy have one daughter, Rebecca Sue.
Burford, daughter of Sophie Adams Burford, and I have two children, Cheryl Jane Wallace and Mike Cox. And I have 5 grandchildren, Jeff Wallace, Laura Wallace, Nick Wallace, David Cox, and Tina Cox. That's all I know.
Adams Shoemate. I am the great-granddaughter of Daniel Adams, and John A. Adams was my grandfather. My father was Elmer Adams. I was born at this place. I have a daughter and 2 grandchildren, John and Jackie. My daughter's name is Denise, and her husband's name is Bill. Their last name is Myers. And this is my husband, Leland Shoemate.
Hello. The whole crowd at the Adams reunion.
And we're hungry.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Sorry about that.
Now, don't move. We ought to get your photo.
That's right.
She's part of the picture.
This is it. You're upset. Sure messes it up, doesn't it?
Come on up here, Sandra.
Okay. I'll pan it. That's okay. We'll go back a 3rd time on the pan. And we'll let Charlie run it then, seeing as it's his camera anyway. Everybody say cheese.
Oh, that makes us more hungry.
Where's Bill?
You missed me?
I need to get down a little bit. You need to, why don't you stand up?
Trying to block them.
Yeah, but I got them.
They've been shown twice.
Okay, now I got you. I can't believe Saunders not at loss for words in this film.
I did get your interview, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. Then everybody go eat.
No, nobody goes eat yet.
Nobody goes eat. You can't eat eggs, folks.
Can't even tell me to ring the bell.
These guys look hungry, I'll tell you that.
Very good.
What we got to do next is go down to Jeff City and go into defense. And then they will come here and re-photograph the tile system that's out in the front 40, which you can't see. But the blue folder is in detail of what we had to do the research and a lot of his history. It's in there someplace. So if you got time, go through it. See me for ordering VCR tapes and what Bill is doing. And if you want any tape recordings of your voice, this is very important. I'm going to tell you a sad story. Bob Burford did a tape for me, told childhood stories of what his mother told him. And we all know that Bob Burford can never talk again. And I have that tape for his children, for his daughter. So when you know, I ask if anybody would like to do a tape recording. They hear your voice in the year 2091. You know, when you're not here any longer, they hear your reminiscence, your dates, your interests, what you were interested in this year, because time will change. Old photos for copying. I have a spatial lens. It's a spatial lens, a filter, that I can copy these old photographs. So if you see any you want, it's so easy for me to do. I just zoom in on the one you want, take it down to Walmart. The price is 35 cents for a 3x5, $1.50 for a 5x7, and $2.12 for an 8x10. That's not tax. Oh, we already talked about the horses. I like to talk about the horses. Okay. Want to talk about the big secret. Catherine knows. Well, I got a phone call after I told Catherine. John A. Adams will be honored at Pilot Knob, Missouri, in a 3-foot by 5-foot picture of him in the Civil War. He's the only Civil War soldier in Johnson County was selected to be this type of picture. It will be in display marking the typical Union cavalryman line of the period. The program, the exhibit begins July 14th at Pilot Knob. It runs a year. And then John A. Adams gets taken back to the Department of Natural Resources, Historic Preservation, and he gets put back in the closet and then taken to another exhibit. But there will be a program. And I was called and asked if one relative could come down and stand by this huge picture of John A. Adams, and when they opened the exhibit down there. I asked Catherine, Bernice, but the problem is, I looked it up on the map. It's 5.5 hours from here, double lane. It's a rough trip. Bill says I can't do it by myself, because when I got down to Eldon, I got lost. And he will be at COCAMP, Civil War event. He cannot go, because he is the one managing the event. So if any pink person would like to be down there, they need to let me know, because I'm to call back. Yeah, I'm to call back and talk to the person and tell them who's going to be there at what time. They've got a little ceremony planned, and this is publicity. Your picture will appear in the Star Journal, of course, here locally, and also in some other papers. But I need to know, you know, who would be interested in going. It's quite a long drive. Bill says it's 225 miles.
260.
260. It's not a day trip.
Unless you take the 4-lane, in which case it's 280.
But if you ever get to Pilot Knob between July 14th and next July 14th, he's 3 foot by 5 foot. Okay, go inside and look at the photos. I want to talk to you about Marion and Mildred Adams. I want to tell you how much they donated, quite a bit of money. She sent all of her heirloom things here for the importance of this reunion. I would like you to go in and see her things. It meant a lot for her to know that we were having this. And she's, you know, they just wanted to know that you appreciated what they did. I have her address in California if you'd like to write a little thank you note. The money we make here will go to restore the Daniel Adams Stone.
Daniel and Susan Stone there, right. Somebody mentioned that yesterday. We ought to raise some money for it, and we got thinking we should have some surplus after that, so that's where it's going.
Remember, it was vandalized, and there'll be a little something around it, and some donation goes to the Pleasant Bethel Baptist Church, where y'all be going tomorrow, and to the Cemetery Fund. But I would like to present Paul Tyson now, and if you do have a chance, do write Marion. You can write her in Caravan Reese, but this meant so much to her to have this reunion.
I will be offering a prayer, but before we have the prayer, shall we take a moment of silence in remembrance of all of the members of the family and friends who have passed on in these past many years. Our dear Heavenly Father, we do thank Thee for the Adams family and for the many, many years which has been in existence. We thank You for those who have gone in the past, for what they mean and what they've meant to so many of those who are still remaining. We would ask you to be with this family as it continues, and we would ask you to bless each and every one of them. Also, dear Lord, we would like to ask you to bless each and every one of those who are unable to attend for one illness or whatever the cause may have been. There have been many we know who are lying in bed who wish they could have been here. Please be with them, dear Lord. We ask you to care for them. We also thank you for giving each and every one of us a safe and trip down or wherever we come from. Many have come from long distances. We'd ask you to be with each and every one of us as we return on our way home. Now we would ask you to bless the food which thou hast set before us. May it nourish our bodies and souls to the extent and use to which you would have it do. This we ask in thy name. Amen.
My name is Judy Arwood. I came from...
Speak louder.
My name is Judy Arwood. I am a descendant of Galen Burford, who is a descendant of Cynthia and John Adams. I have two children. One is 19 in college and one is almost 16. I have a husband. If there was good food here, he'd probably be here. I couldn't get my dad to come, but I hope he does tomorrow. Is that it?
Okay.
Fire! Quiet! Attention company! Fire by company! Ready! A!
All your fire, men! Cameras ready.
Recover R! That's ready?
Ready, all right.
Fire by company, ready! A! Fire! Shoulder R!
Thank you. Got the smoke and everything.
Right, on!
I'll let you go through back of your wife.
No, it's Maxine. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. I'll back up your voice so you can go through there. You want to get started eating.
The door, the man's in the doorway.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not filming my heavily laden plates, are you, Bill?
Yes, I am. Oops.
It's all good.
Can't be content to just eat something pieces.
I have a little funny story.
They're captured.
Now, this is not a very good picture.
Got a lot of tape left.
Yeah, you can have this. Sure.
They have no children. This is a brand new experience.
That
My
would be
wife
something.
comes along as a helper, but she's got all of the resources and experience.
It's hard to be a helper, but you know how.
They work well together. She's helping train this other young lady.
Keep stuff. Hey, keep stuff. How are you? Yeah, we have some cattle.
Raising for beef?
Selection of where everybody is from who attended this function. This is Cedar Croft Farm, a farm that John A. Adams built in around 1867. This is a view of the house, which has since been restored. This is a view of the east barn, which was originally the horse barn. We believe that the small structure at the north end of it, or the back end as we look at it now, was what was built originally. The front portion of it was added on somewhat later. The east barn, the one we see here, was the cattle barn, and we believe it was probably built a little bit later than was the horse barn. As we swing around and look towards the southwest, we see the area that was originally a garden. The area out further here and down the lane was originally either pasture or field. We're now looking into what we call the southwest pasture. Little knoll that's directly ahead has a well on it, and we understand that there was once a turkey house on it. You can see where the well is there. At the edge of it that I'm pointing at right now, we believe that some of the stone used to quarry was quarried from to use in the foundations. There's a creek running down that I'm following the line of now. And on the other side of this creek was a significant quarry used for much of the sandstone for the foundations. There was once an orchard out in this area. Now let's take a closer look at the west barn. We said this barn was originally used for horses. Looking at the inside of it, we can see that this upper loft, which was originally used for hay, was real accessible because it was a drive-through for the wagon. The wagons would enter here, offload, and then drive out the other end. Down below, you can see where the horses were. They were fed in this manger just up ahead. And please ignore the modern intrusions. They were fed in this manger. There were two doors so they could get them out through either one of them. Unfortunately, we need to do a lot of work on this. But at this angle you can see some of the dressed stone that was used in the foundation, all quarried right here on the property. The area we're looking at now was used for grain storage and possibly tack as well. And was in part of the original barn. It was joined originally with very limited use of nails, as you can see by this join here and some of the ones in the corner. However, this barn has deteriorated to quite some extent over the years and needs a lot of work. Now approaching the east barn, which was originally the cattle barn. We have some old pictures of some of John Adams' cattle that he had at that time frame. The area I'm pointing at right now is where a silo once stood. This barn was similarly unusual. You can see the entrance here through which they drove the wagons. You can see that this also has an upper level where the loft was, where the hay was stored, and it was carried in on a trolley, which you can see way up the top, and could be carried in from either end as well. And if you notice below here is the basement where the cows were, and you can see the manger where they were fed and I assume milked in this same area. On the other side is what was originally a corn crib. Again, look at the size of the stones that were used in the foundation. We think this barn was somewhat later than the other barn because it's joined pretty well with nails and not mortise and tenon joints as the other one was. Had guttering, which led through underground tiles to cisterns, which are also wells, which served each barn. Here's another view of the house. So you can see, as we approach it, that it was a white house with a series of windows on it. The portion in the back is the addition that we put on later. Unfortunately, we had to remove the chimneys which stood on the top because we had no use for them and they created a lot of leakage problems. We also covered the original siding, which is still there, with vinyl or steel siding. More interesting features we were able to preserve on the house were the lightning rods with the globes on them. There's one there, another one there, and another one at the end of the house. This originally had shutters, and we believe was white because we see no other colors of paint underneath it. The roof was originally a cedar shingle roof, and we had been replaced by composition, and we replaced it with another new composition type shingle. If you look at the porch, we can still see some of the original siding. The trim and gingerbread work which you see here was replaced except for these large support pieces that we're currently looking at. And that is an original piece which we reinstalled. The trim line up in there, the molding, is also original, as are the posts on the ends. As the center posts were replaced, as were the windows. This was not the original porch on this farm. The original porch was a small L-shaped porch. This one was built somewhere between 1890 and 1895. You can see the west end of the house here. The parlor is lower room, and the upper room is what we've been told was for the girls. Again, you can see the porch from here, and the roof line of the parents' room and central room or family room. Let's tour the inside of the house. We'll start in the parlor with this picture of John and Dorothy and the 10 children taken on 50th wedding anniversary. We'll go on back to this large portrait of Daniel and portrait of Susan. The clocks, of which there are several in the house, all belong to Benjamin. This collage of pictures belongs to is pictures of Dr. Jim Adams. And here we have carte de visite of John Adams as a young soldier. And here we have a much larger one of him. This is also a blow up. Now this picture will be blown up to 3 foot by 5 foot and displayed at the Battlefield Park at Pilot Knob. And here, sitting on this dummy, is his original hat, which was given us by Grace Adams Burnett. We have 2 coverlets in the room, one of which was furnished by Marion Adams of California, daughter of Dr. Jim Adams. And the other one was Effie's. This picture is the McCoy family. We also have in here, in Adams' information, is a copy of the Missouri Ruralist article and a picture from another magazine, plus a Country Gentleman article. This picture, we believe, but we are unable to prove this, is a picture of John Adams, who came from North Carolina, and his wife Abigail. Again, we're unable to prove this. This secretary was given to us by Charles Mason, second husband of Elta Adams, the daughter of Benjamin. And the pulpit here came from the New Hope Methodist Church, which is since closed. The trunk belonged to Dr. Jim Adams and was sent to us by Marion Adams from California. We believe, was the last room of the house constructed, based on the fact that this was the only room in the house that we found round nails in when we did demolition work. We're now stepping through into the middle room, which was, I think, the predominant family room. There was once a stove sitting here with a flue pipe going through the ceiling in that area. Unfortunately, we have no Adams memorabilia in this room. Step into the kitchen. Right there is where the stove was forever. You can see the chimney there that the flue once attached to. The stove itself here is a 1937 model donated by Ed and Mildred Hurd. We have no other Adams memorabilia other than many of the little things like the churn, the coffee grind, and the small things in this room. This room had umpteen layers of wallpaper on it, which we took off. And restored the original wood and painted it. Either this room or the central room was the original one built. The central room has a cellar, and all the studs in the wall were hand-hewn timbers. It's all done with square nails, while the kitchen was done predominantly with sawn timbers. To the hallway and go upstairs. Originally there was a window right here. As we go up the stairs, the handrail was added, and we're coming to a window which once overlooked the pantry and the back porch. Now it goes into the attic of the addition we put on. We still have original plaster walls in here. As we step down into the parents' room, we can see the slanting ceilings that characterized all the upstairs bedrooms. And now we're going to have a look at something unique in this house. Which is very difficult to see because of the reflection. What we have here is a mud and straw insulation that was installed in the house. We removed all of it but this and covered this with glass and threw the rest out the window except for some we gave to the Historical Society. The portion that went out the window ended up sprouting some wheat, which we gave to the University of Missouri. Yeah, there was plaster put on the outside of this, and then the outside siding was put on, and the interior lath and plaster was put on. We were told that this room was always very warm. Personally, none of the memorabilia in this room is Adams related, except for the sewing machine, which is a 1901 Singer that belonged to Mildred Adams. It was the wife of Benjamin. We step out of the room, you can see some of the family quilts that Sandra has collected. And we're going into the room that we call in the bed and breakfast Cora's room after Cora Hurd. However, this room we understand was the daughter's room. Again, this is a small room and we have no idea how they could have gotten 5 girls into this room at the same time. And unfortunately, we have no original Adams memorabilia in this room. We go down the hallway and down the stairs, we can see some confirmation dresses, several of which are Adams pieces, and what is supposed to be Dorothy Mack's dress that she wore at John's funeral. This door and small stairwell leads upstairs to the room in which we understand was the boys' room. And it's not fitting right now for display on camera. Incidentally, this rocking chair, I am told, was built by Benjamin Adams. So as we take a last look around, we've enjoyed doing this film for the first ever Descendants of Daniel Adams reunion. And we appreciate the opportunity to do it, even if it is a real amateurish effort. The cemetery scenes will come on after this. Thank you, and thanks for trying. June 21st, 1991. Panning the cemetery. In front of us here we have the grave of John Adams, who came from North Carolina with his son Daniel and some of his brothers in 1834. He was born in 1792 and died in 1871. He's flanked by his two wives. His first wife, Abigail, who was the mother of Daniel Adams. And on the other side of him, his second wife, Peggy Evans Adams, who was born, as you can see, was 21 years younger than he was. Here we have the grave of Daniel Adams and his wife, Susan McCrary. Daniel, this reunion is based on the descendants of Daniel and Susan. I'm going to walk around it here. Also in the plot is the grave of Mary Frances Adams, who died at 10 or 11 years old. This is the grave of John Albert Adams, the eldest son of Daniel, and if you notice, he's got his GAR marker, and this is marked as his regiment that he served in, or one of his two regiments he served in the Civil War, and of course of his wife, Dorothy Mack, the cemetery.
Is the cap on?
No. Maybe. Huh.
Now you can see through it. Yeah, no.
That's recording. I got 4 more tapes.
Well, tell us some more history then, and we'll get it.
Now, which one do we want to talk about? We already talked about John here, John A. here. How about Benjamin? This is John's oldest. Benjamin right here. This is John's oldest son. The oldest of his 10 kids. He was born in '68. Mildred was the daughter of one of his pards in the war. She was the McCoy, and we got that McCoy family picture. This is Benjamin.
level are we at now?
Oh, we're getting closer. This is the son of John. And they kind of step back.
Let's just, Phil, let's follow some of
This is Benjamin, the eldest son of John A. He was born in '68. Got married rather late, or started having children rather late anyway, because he had 2 daughters, Elta and Irma. Elta was born in 1900 and died in '87. Then Irma died, I think, in '81, and that was Sandra's adopted mother. And you'll be meeting Dean Adams, so they'll be meeting is Elta's son. And his father was Fred, who's one of John's brothers. But we don't talk about that. There's other things we don't talk about either.
Yeah, there's one over here that I have wondered about.
Which one was that one?
Get it out in the open now. You know? Somewhere I saw one that said that.
Consort?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that was Abigail, though, who's old John's wife. And it says consort. We have no idea why it says that, 'cause that was his first wife.
That was his first one.
Yeah, the one with all the children. They had 10 children. Daniel had 12. John had 10. And I've got something down on a lot of these, how many they had, but I really don't have a lot of information.
Well, now,
because when I started doing this about 3 years ago, I didn't have a lot of the information that I've picked up now. And of course, Larry has brought some in.
Now, you're not saying that John Adams had 2 wives.
No, that was old John back there.
Now, that would have been...
That was 1792. He was this John's grandfather.
Okay, he was this John Adams' grandfather. Right? And that was Daniel Adams' father.
Right, Daniel Adams fit in between. Just like
Okay, I
his
want
grave
to
is
get
in
that
between.
old man's grave, too.
Would you say then that Elijah's, that John, Daniel's family, all those 11 or 12 children were born around here?
All 10 of them were born in Missouri. Because John was the eldest, and he was born here. They came in 34, and John was Daniel's eldest, and he was born in 41.
And this would be a brother of this Elijah.
Yeah.
But Elijah is buried in California? Really?
He died in 1919.
Well, now,
Okay.
All the rest
what did Elijah do? Was he the doctor?
No.
James Lynn was
He was a
doctor.
teacher.
He was a teacher for 7 years. I'm asking. This Elijah went to New York to study at
Phonology.
That's what was written in the Effie Adams Journal, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I saw it someplace else too. But he moved to Kansas and he studied phrenology. Phrenology is the study of the bumps in your head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you tell about the person from the bumps, feeling the bumps on your head. That's phrenology.
We have a joker.
And
Well, that's how Elijah met Louis, because the Smiths were from Missouri.
but where did they settle?
Well, he built this home in Caldwell, Kansas, which is still there.
Smith guy.
No, Grandpa Elijah.
Oh, boy, he built all over the place. He built this big home in Pasadena, California. He did a lot of homesteading. Prospecting.
Built a nice house,
in
sold it
Mexico.
for profit.
Well, he had 11 children. He had to have big house.
Is he the one that had the
There
house
were-
down on Baja?
That little house of ours, there were 10
No, but he
children
did live
raised
in
in it.
Yeah,
And then in
I
Tierra
forgot
Valley,
how many.
Isn't it? And
Of
well, there
course,
was
you gotta
some
remember
separated.
now, you gotta remember now that
A ranch down on
Delmer
And
was
that's
born
your,
in 48.
that was your
And
the
he's,
father.
now he's around here someplace too, I believe.
It was your
They
father?
asked
brought
me
him
to go
back
down there. Did they go over
I
that?
really didn't have time to get out here and review everything, so I'd be quite as
Yeah,
sharp
no,
on this as
that's
I'd like. There's a lot of.
And he went down.
Well, what you'd want to do is
Right after World War
Now we can, then once we do that, then we can tell. Yeah, close enough. It's a piece of sandstone. That's the stuff that we grow on our property. Sandstone.
Yeah, that's what.
copied this.
Why don't you go ahead and read it?
January 9th.
Why don't you read it out loud to us so that everybody can
Okay.
listen to it?
Okay. All right, I'll read what it says. I've got it. This ground's worse than it is at Popple Creek where we put flowers in it. We go to 5 of John Adams. Was born in Missouri, June 5th, 1835. Was married December 28th, 1831 to Conna Ann, I guess that's Conna, or Senna. It doesn't look like there's a line there, so I don't know what it is. It might be C-E-N-A. Ann, E-G-B-E-R-T-A-N-D, Egbertland. When this rebellion broke out, he went into the Home Guard on the 4th of July, 1861, and served with until his death. He died January 9th, 1862, at age, now I gotta figure that out again, 35. Must be 27 years, 7 months, and 4 days. 27 and 26, I'll figure it out. It would be 26. 26 years. Yes.
Okay, 26 years, 7 months, and 4 days.
I have to figure it out from 1935. Well, you know that. Yeah, 1935. Oh, he couldn't have been. He couldn't have been born in 1830.
We know that Daniel
Four.
lived in about, he really got himself into the Northern Land.
If he was born in 1835, what the heck?
60, 67.
Somebody
No,
messed around
he
with
was
this.
married in then.
Huh?
He was married then.
No, he was the son of John, was born in 1835.
Now,
June
who is
5th.
this one? Suppose that's an...
June 5th, 1835. Was married December 25th. And that was like 1831 when someone paid it out.
48.
That was
He was what? 11?
That's a bird. Look at the date.
Of age by the time the war ended. He would have been 60. By the time the war ended, he would have been in a position. By 64, by
Suppose that's a
64,
5?
65.
Huh?
You sent a
He would
picture.
have-
That is a
they would
5.
have-
I have it. I think that's a 5. Yeah, that's a 5. It feels like.
Yeah, I can see it.
1854.
So he married in
See,
1854.
William Preston went out.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So it's when the rebellion broke out, he
Went into the Home Guards on the 4th of July, 1861, and served until his death. He died January 9, 1862,
Okay, now,
at the age of 26 years, 7 months, and 4 days.
now, this is not the one that was killed down here as he came home on leave, is he?
I don't know, one was
One was
drowned in the
bushwhacked.
Osage River, another George Washington over
Okay.
there.
Now, there was one of them that was bushwhacked. He came home to, I think it was Daniel Adams's place.
Oh.
And they were up here at the church, at the little church, and he came home and was shaving while they were at church, was going to clean up. And they didn't allow the Union troops to wear their guns home. And he was in the house, and the bushwhackers had followed him evidently, and they shot him and threw him over in the hog pen. And when the folks came home from church, the hogs were rooting him around out there. And that was one of those young guys that was killed at that time. He had gotten to come home on furlough.
Well, that I had never heard, but this one over here said he was drowned in the Osage River.
Well, that would be another one, because this kid was bushwhacked, whoever this one was.
Oh,
I mean, the one that I know that story on. So I don't know whether this would be...
I'll put that in my notes.
Because I just don't know. I think I'll...
It's in one place. Boy Sprouts.
I
We're going to
know
come
in
out
our
here
old
with
cemetery-
Lloyd, and Larry's going to make himself out a plat type thing of this, and we're going to go through and we're going to plot all the graves. And then we're going to...
We don't need
good
the
shot of
elbow.
my elbow there. And then we're going to put one set of it up there on indexed up there on the wall on the side. Once we can throw it on the computer, we can do anything.
Yeah, yeah. I know our
All we have to do
cemetery
is
at
find a
home, we've even had a
program.
little problem with digging into graves that we didn't know were there.
That's precisely why,
And,
you see,
Sure.
whoever turned this over to Loy Sproat,
Now, Sproat, that
Sproats.
name is
they're the one,
a
they're the,
familiar name too.
yeah, we'll
Was
say,
that just neighbors or are some
they're,
of them?
they're neighbors, and they also have all this, the Adams land. I was telling that story just before you got here.
You're recording?
Go for it.
But I'll tell the story again, because I didn't really, did I get it recorded? How the Sproats got the Adams land?
Well, yeah, you better tell it on there.
Okay. George Washington Adams over here. He's the son of old John Adams, the youngest son of old John Adams. He married Athena Egbert, went out. They had a couple of daughters. One of them died young, and then he went out and died during the war. His daughter, or his wife went off, married somebody else, and left the daughter with Aunt Peggy, old John's second wife. Then she grew up and married John H. Adams, no relation. The first of several wives he had. They had a daughter, and then she died. This one, his daughter died, so it was back, and he remarried, and it was back to Aunt Peggy. Now this one married Truman Elmer Sproat, who was the patriarch of the Sproat clan around here. Meanwhile, Aunt Peggy lived till the turn of the century. She was smarter than John. She'd inherited all John's land because he died intestate, a large portion of it, and she willed it all to her step-granddaughter, I guess it would have been, who was married to Truman Sproat, Truman Sproat, and that's how the Sproats got all that land over there, a good portion of the land. And that's the story I was saying. It took me a long time to get all that figured out.
Now, I'm trying to figure out which one of these fellows, I was just telling him, one of the Adams boys, and I think it was old Daniel's son, would have been a brother of John Adams, came home on furlough from the Union Army. They didn't allow him to bring their gun. And he was down here in where Daniel Adams' house is, I think. Either that or it's a John Adams house. The rest of the family were up here at church. And while they were at church, he was shaving to get ready for them to come home. And some bushwhackers came in and shot him and threw him over into the hog pen. And when the folks got home from church, the hogs were out moving around. Now that was one.
That's one of the stories.
That's one of the.
Okay, there were no.
That was
the only possibility, the only people who are documented out here as being dying during the war are George W. there and George W. here. Now we know when he died. He died in action at the, and he's the son of one of Daniel's brothers, I believe.
Well, this
or one of John's brothers. I'm sorry, one of John's brothers, and he was killed at Castle Rock. It said he drowned at the Osage River at Castle Rock, but that date happened to be when Sterling Price was forcing the crossing of the Osage on his Great Missouri Raid in the fall of 1864. That kind of ended up at the Battle of Westport.
Oh.
So
he was
that
captured up here at Lexington, huh?
Well, a number of them were captured at Lexington. But anyway, it says he drowned at the Osage River at Castle Rock, and I can tell you that he was probably trying to cross it under fire at the time, because that was probably part of the rear guard. They wouldn't let people serve. The Union Army finally got smart and wouldn't let them serve in their home counties because there was too much personal score settling. And at least if you had some Iowans or Coloradans here, they wouldn't have all the personal things to settle. And that was a lot of personal score settling around here during that time. As late as May of 1865, when one of the noted guerrillas, a fellow named Little Archie Clement, went home to Kingsville and burned out about half the town, shot down half a dozen people. Then after he did that, he said, "Oh, you mean we've surrendered out here?" Well, I guess.
Well, he must have been exchanged then for some
they paroled
Confederate prisoners.
They just paroled them all. They paroled them all.
Yeah.
The thing was, when he was captured at Lexington, he wasn't captured by Confederate forces. He was captured by the state of Missouri.
Really?
Sterling Price, Missouri had not yet seceded. And Until didn't secede until October of that year, and hadn't been accepted as an alliance with the Confederacy yet. So at that date, Missouri was operating strictly as an independent entity defending its own territory. And this was there was a Warrensburg area contingent up there, and obviously he was part of it. But the rest of them were, most of the forces there were an Irish brigade out of Chicago under a fellow named Mulligan, or Milligan, I've seen it either way. And they were all paroled. Sterling Price was gentlemen. Rock Milligan, Tiz Canton, had them goodies. Just, that's the best he lived during the war, probably. And he was Sterling Price's prisoner.
My father lived here with his grandfather for about 3 or 4 years. His grandfather, John, his mother remarried, and as he was the Baptist 56, he was quite a history guy.
The thing is, a lot of these stories never made the official list.
I think you're okay. Just stand right up.
You stand there with the phones.
This grandfather.
Did a lot of planning, and she said, well, yeah, I say old John needs one too, so I put one up there.
Come on over here.
Bush needs some trimming.
What John Adams is this over here?
Now come around.
His mother, father.
It's not working again.
I want to get another one.
It's not working.
Now there's some.
Before we go to the Historic Society,
Okay.
He